Podtacular, the unofficial Halo Universe podcast, presents episode 889, Halo Man Station, recorded live on October 10th, 2024. Hello everyone, welcome to Podtacular, the unofficial Halo Universe podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Duststorm.
I'm your other co-host, Godzilla T.
And what a weekend this past weekend for Halo World Championship 2024. And to talk about it and to talk about some other interesting news that came out of this weekend, we have two folks on from JumperScape, who we've had on the podcast before to talk about Project Tarkov. But we have Austin and Connor back on the podcast. Welcome to the live version of Podtacular.
Thank you very much for having us.
Round two.
Yeah. I'll say thanks for having us as well.
Yeah.
I think I actually, I forgot entirely that I had been on here like 2 years ago, I think now.
Yep.
Until just recently. I was just like, oh, wait, yeah, there was that one time that I was only known as the guy that worked on another audio drama that wasn't Hunt the Truth.
Right. Which, I mean, the production quality, again, was pretty much up there with Hunt the Truth.
I still appreciate that. It was a really fun project to work on.
Yeah, which I don't know if you have some news to share about that on the podcast tonight, but...
I very well might, but I real quick, I think I know, if you would like me to sidetrack, I know how to solve this audio issue.
Well, we'll let you do that while we get into the news.
Yes.
So we'll if you want to do that real quick, we'll get into a little bit of a Podtacular recap.
I'm gonna exit stage right.
Exit stage left. Well, that's not a good snackle because I don't know what that was. Anyways. So yeah, we had quite a hiatus for the podcast, and Pens is now gifting another sub to get things started off. So thank you, Pens, for that. Up to 11 gifted subs for this stream. We've got a little bit of a Podtacular recap to do. We have a couple of game nights that GT has hosted since we've been off for the last 3 weeks for the podcast, I think, for the live stream. Does that sound about right?
Something like that.
Yeah. So, any fun and interesting stories from the last couple of weeks of doing the game nights?
No, we've just been having a lot of fun. We've had a couple of nights where we did really well and we're winning pretty consistency, and then we paid for it.
It happens.
Yeah, the matchmaking is doing its job. It lets you go for a while and then it smacks you in the face.
Dose of reality a little bit, right?
Yeah. But all in all, we've been having a lot of fun with it.
Very good. We've got some interesting things to play over the next couple of weeks, too, with the latest Halloween update. So that's going to be interesting as well. On a little bit of a different tone, I made these little things for HCS Worlds. So for those in the Twitch chat, I made little credit coins, which...
I wish I got a gold one.
I didn't get a gold one.
I ran out of the gold ones by the time I got to you all. But yeah, I made a couple of credit coins. My first foray into 3D printing. So these were very well received. A lot more well received than I thought they would be. My first time 3D printing. I'm debating on... I've talked to a couple of people possibly setting up an Etsy store and maybe selling these. They got good reception. Don't worry, Pens. I'll send you one of these in YouTube GT. I also made a Spartan Point coin as well, and they're gonna make their way into the Halo Museum.
Nice.
So some Podtacular swag of sorts. I know there's some other people in the chat that we normally have, but if something like this is intriguing that you would possibly consider in an Etsy store, drop a comment in the chat. I'd be interested to kind of gauge interest in what people would if people would be interested in buying something like this. I'm thinking something like this would be like maybe $5-7 plus shipping type of thing. Like they're not super expensive and they're not like the greatest quality, but I got the printing down to where I can get kind of it decently smooth. And I'll probably change the way I paint these as far as the method. But yeah.
Would it still be the fun little idea of like if you get a gold ticket, you still get something out of it?
Yeah. So fun fact about these. Over the weekend, I made 10 of these. And the way I made these was I printed one half, which had the front on it, and then glued them back to back together. And for the gold ones, the ones I didn't hand out to specific community members, the ones that were actually in the blind draw bag, the gold ones had an NFC tag in them, and not a lot of people came up to me. Like I handed these out to a lot of people I knew or a lot of people that were interested in it. So there was definitely the community trade of things that other people brought things to trade or things to make, and other people that I knew in the Halo community is like, oh, here's something cool I made. Here you go. So not a lot of people came up to me to do a blind draw, but we had had some folks. And one person drew one of the gold ones, and it actually had preloaded on it credits. So I loaded $10 worth and $20 worth of credits onto 4 of the coins because I had 10. I was going to make 10 of them, but might save these for next year. Do another kind of random drawing for a certain event that's coming up next year.
That's so much fun.
Yeah. So yeah, a little kind of somewhat related to Podtacular, kind of made these on behalf of Podtacular. So yeah, cool little side project I had for Worlds this weekend that I decided 3 weeks before Worlds that I wanted to do. And yeah.
That's awesome.
Nothing like cutting it close to get things done. Yeah.
As if Dust needs something else to do.
Right.
I mean, it was really good for last minute, if that was really last minute.
Yeah, people were impressed. I was very surprised at the reception that these got. And even I think the Spartan point was even more surprising to people because it was a 2-inch coin where this is a 1.5-inch coin. So unfortunately I gave them all away, so I don't have one to show off, but it was pretty legit.
Sweet.
Yeah. So anyways, let's do a little bit of a quick introduction for our guests. I think Austin, you were the only one on last time when we had you on for Tarkov.
At the time, I was working solo, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. So Connor, you get the duo of questions that we ask all of our guests on the podcast.
Oh boy.
First one being, which is kind of why you're here at the moment. I guess we'll start with the other one, which is kind of a little bit more of the default opener. Well, how'd you get into Halo? What got you interested in the Halo? What was the itch that made you jump into this wonderful universe and stick with it?
I love this story. I had a friend of mine who I would go and visit when I was a kid, and I always walked to his house. And one of the games that we played a lot was probably Halo, and I just remember listening to music, being a kid, and playing Halo, doing all the Forge stuff, and just to sum it up real quickly, I think I've frozen.
Yeah, you did.
It's okay. I think there's like 2 realities we have to face with using that secondary system is 1, you'll probably have to mute in between talking, and 2, you're going to have to turn that camera on and off all the time.
But the audio works.
And that's for me to get close.
Yeah. Thankfully, we're an audio and a video. Well, primarily audio podcast, and the video is just for those that happen to come by on Twitch. So the extra benefit there, and
everyone should totally tune on Twitch. So much more.
Yeah, there's a lot more going on Twitch, or you can become a patron and watch the VODs on Patreon too. So
they should do both of those things.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, before we jump into the sloth of news that we have from this weekend, I know we wanted to get you all on for quite some time. I know there's some upcoming projects that you all have as well. You've started your own podcast since we last talked with you as well. So what's going on with JumperScape?
Gosh, what isn't?
I don't see you opening a restaurant anytime soon. So,
actually, that's been a joke that we should start
a
place called. Oh yeah. We've been doing all sorts of stuff. People have been throwing jumper in front of other words and being like, that should be the next thing. So like
Jumper Cafe.
Yeah, Jumper Cafe, Jumper Burger, if we're going to go off of Mr. Beast.
Yeah,
Stuff like
that makes sense. That makes sense.
We had a jumper car.
If I was going to do anything, I'm not going to lie, I'm very envious of those in the UK who have potato trucks. I would absolutely just do a JumperScape potato truck.
Is that just like a food truck that just does potato type stuff? Or
dude, it's actually incredible. It's baked potatoes. It's like a hot dog truck or like a taco truck.
Okay,
but it's just primarily potatoes. They have like hundreds of these things pre-baked, and then throw them into a little tray with all these different kinds of toppings. Of course, beans are in there. And it is one of the most delicious looking things on the planet, but it's not something that exists as far as I'm aware in the States. So if I was to do any form of restaurant, it would be Jumper Tater or something.
not to bust your bubble, but I have seen a food truck that does things like baked potatoes before. And
dude,
like,
burst my
Fridays.
bubble because I want to find them.
I don't remember where. I want to say it was probably Boston because I remember it being a PAX. I think there's a food truck in Boston that does things like the loaded fries and baked potatoes, and I think that's basically the truck.
That would add a whole lot to.
Come on.
That would add a lot to James saying that Boston is the best city.
making you hungry yet?
Oh yeah.
But to answer the question, really, what JumperScape is doing, we started off things. We kicked off things pretty, I would say, like mid or around 2023. We kicked off things about mid 2023 because we had planned something since February of 2023, and that was a whole let's do a podcast, right? Because the initial idea was Tarkov is filled with some really confusing things. What is an Abaddon? What is Oni section? Oni has sections? What is all of that? And so the idea of the library was to do 25 episodes, address the primary lore concerns that could arise from it. So what are the precursors? What are the forerunners? What is Abaddon? What is Oni? What is UNSC as a whole? And
what
then
is Halo?
Exactly, what is Halo? And then something kind of changed around episode 19. Because episode 19 was when we had our first guest. It was November Black. And they're now like really good friends of ours. We just like kind of discovered we're in the same state. So we just kind of work together every now and then now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still waiting for their production to come out.
Yeah, dude, it's looking. They've had a couple hiccups here and there because of things that happened with their previous team, but specifically a director. But that's all. Yeah, that was a really interesting situation, but it all worked out.
Because we had them on last year to talk about the project, and they said it was going to be coming out early this year, and we're still waiting. And it's been a year or so since we talked to them.
I can say for them, because of the situation that happened, which is very public, it's not something that I'm leaking or anything like that. It's just stuff that they had to work through, and they had to retool because they don't want to use the stuff they already shot that was shot by another director. So they've switched it up a little bit. They've gotten a lot of new help, and the equipment is still the same. They're still using those fantastic, phenomenal polyurethane rubber suits.
Yeah,
so
I've seen their socials blowing up lately, and some of the stuff I'm seeing is like chef's kiss.
Oh yeah, them and Containment Media. Those two are killing it right now. Containment Media, if you are a supporter, you should be paying attention to their Discord because there's a special little channel for those who donated. And I mean, we're seeing, I can't say everything that they're showing because that's a secret channel, but they're showing off some stuff that I'm just like, that looks like it just should be in like a TV show or a legit movie. It looks so freaking good. They're both killing it. And so when we had November Black on, it was a realization that we could do a little bit more. And that was added to even more when we had even more guests. The most confusing one, in my opinion, we had James C. Burns, the actor for Frank Woods from Call of Duty Black Ops. And it's out of left field, but the reason why he was there, he really wanted to talk about the insurrectionists.
Interesting. Okay.
And we reached out to reached out to him. He turned out to be really into Halo and its story. He, on the show, just sort of announced Wood should have been a Spartan. He should have been up there. And then he just started throwing out Master Chief quotes in Woods' voice.
I'll never forget getting
so
a
cool.
text I'll never forget getting that text. We got James C. Burns from Black Ops. I'm like, that's my childhood.
Yeah, that's a throwback.
Mm-hmm. So when we hit 25, the initial ending, we just called that the end of season 1. Season 2, things changed. We had to swap out one of our hosts. Connor was starting to come in then, and we moved from doing it on Discord to, wait a minute, we all live in the same area. Why don't we all just do it in the same place? So I took out a small loan to get a bunch of equipment, and pretty much from there, just 4 microphones set up on a poker table in my home office, and the show just started continuing from there. And that show got so popular that it kind of just spurred on everything else that came after it. So up until this point now, we have produced the Library Halo Lorecast. We've produced Stories from Waypoint, which, for those of you who want a little bit of JumperScape's audio drama without having to listen and wait for Tarkov: A Halo Story Season 2, Stories from Waypoint is your answer for that. Stories from Waypoint is basically, we were thinking that some folks probably aren't very interested in reading the Waypoint Chronicles. They're not interested in reading the story shards, the fractures, anything like that. Some folks genuinely will look at that and they'll just be like, that's so boring. So we took those, hired some amateur actors, sometimes professional actors, and used our tech and knowledge of audio engineering and sound design and turned them into these audio drama performances that are releasing on a monthly basis. So that's been fun, and that show has been really entertaining to work on. Along with that, we've still got Tarkov Season 2 on the horizon, which again, I can talk about a little bit later. And then most recently, setting aside all of the side stuff that we do, because we have things like a 24-hour lo-fi Halo live stream that is on YouTube right now, which I've been very pleased to find out people do use it while they do their homework and stuff. It's great.
Hey, lo-fi is the thing for that now.
It works. It got us some friends, because there's some artists out there that deserve a whole lot of attention, and that was a good way for them to get it. So I was happy with that. And then most recently, for our main stuff related to Halo, we got Chatternet. And Chatternet is a daily Halo radio, basically. It's designed to be in the same format as a radio show, because my background is in radio, not podcasts or anything like that. It's radio. So I threw that in there, and now we're on episode 5. Tomorrow is episode 6. And I mean, we got some fantastic guests on that. We got Clutch Academy hosting one of the HCS segments, Why Not Be Casting, otherwise known as Why Not Be Reckless, one of the analytics guys for HCS, who was at Worlds on camera. Like, he was up there. He's hosting one of these segments. And then a couple of them are just hosted from people who are just in the Discord, who just wanted to contribute to what JumperScape does. Not to say that we just said, oh, you have a microphone? Let's give it a shot. No, there was a vetting process. Yeah. Chatternet was like 6 months of work to actually get it to actually happen.
Wow.
So, yeah, this stuff is not just let's make it happen. It's like, I am terrified of this failing. Let's do anything possible to make sure it doesn't.
That's a lot of effort, man, to get that going.
Yep.
Yeah, I know the amount of communication has been a lot too, just from my point of view of things. A lot of communication.
Well, if you're trying to coordinate all that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, so that's in relations to Halo and our main stuff, because I could go on and on about side things, people we work with, what we've gotten our toes dipped into. But that'd be a lot of YouTubers. That would be a lot of projects. It'd be a lot. So that's the main stuff. That's the stuff that's like, that should be what JumperScape is for.
Very good. Well, I know there's a whole lot more that we can talk about, but there's a lot of big news that also came out over this past weekend.
I would love to talk about that.
That I think we want to get to. Yeah.
Yes.
Just to put the little plug in there, since we did have a live stream over the weekend. Both of you happened to be on the live show that we did from HCS, from the Halo World Championships in Seattle. We did that Sunday noon Pacific time. And we had you two on. Austin, we had your wife on. We had Bobby, who's also in the Twitch chat at the moment. He was out there in Seattle this weekend. We had Omniscient Wolf. So that was the first time I got to meet him in person after playing with him in several play dates and tournaments for the Boomer and Zoomer thing. And then we also had Golden Boy just drop the bomb for an hour with us.
Just walked in.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Alex is one of, like, he is, in my opinion, the GOAT of all casters. I mean, definite favoritism there.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I told you. If you remember, I said to him, I'm like, no other caster do I recognize by voice.
Yeah. I mean, Walshy, I know Walshy and Bravo pretty well just from the time I've spent in the Halo community. I knew Bravo since like the later MLG days, different Halo events, kind of Walshy a little bit later on through events as well. So like the three of them were kind of some of the early on talent during HCS kind of going up. And I think the three of them are kind of like the mainstays that have kind of stayed on since then. Like Tony, Onset, Gaskin, those are some of the newer faces as far as the commentators, and they've been staples for a while. But if memory serves me well, which I'm hoping it still does, I believe Walshy, Bravo, and Golden Boy are kind of like the three originating casters that are still there that kind of got HCS off of its feet as far as casting. And Golden Boy mentioned it on the live stream that we did, but he got his start in casting with Call of Duty, kind of back in the MLG days, and he jumped into Halo. He was one of the first. He was on that first call of getting HCS off the ground with Tashi. And the fact that HCS has been around for now 10 years, building on a 20-plus year legacy of competitive Halo, is a feat in and of itself. So shout outs to everyone that was on that show. We had about an hour and a half that we just sat around the microphone talking about the history of competitive Halo, where things stand, where we'd like to see things go in the future. It's a really good podcast special. It's up on YouTube now. I'll get on the podcast feeds here pretty soon. But yeah, it's definitely worth checking out, and can't thank you guys enough for being on and including me in some of the shenanigans that you guys got up to as well during the weekend.
We had good times. We like to have fun.
Yeah, we certainly did. Let's touch on, I guess, some of the community side of things to get started with, and then we'll jump into a little bit more of the competitive side of things. GT, did you get a chance to watch any of the community stage while you were?
No, I have this thing called a job.
Okay.
You missed out on me losing the quiz show.
Yeah, Austin
I missed out on a lot of stuff. No, unfortunately, I was not able to tune into any of it because, work. So I'm pretty much in the dark as to what happened over the weekend.
We get to have all of your reactions here live. This is great.
Yeah, there you go. Community stage was a lot going on, obviously, as it has been every year. Obviously, community play dates both to kick off the community streams both days. We had the cosplayers, we had both heats on the community stage, and then we had the final heat on the main stage, which was nice to see them kind of incorporate that into the main overall production of the show. So that I don't think that happened last year. I think this was the first for that to actually be incorporated into part of the main stream and main stage stuff. If you haven't seen it, GT, definitely need to go check it out. But the first place was a combat form flood, and it is just freaking legit. Pins, I'm sure you're looking up the picture to link it in the Twitch chat right now, so wait for you to do that. But it was
it juicy?
I mean, it looked like it. Yeah, and there was even a little spore, or not spore, infection form on a little RC car that was driving around with the combat form.
Actually, I saw video of that.
Okay, so yeah, so you saw.
Yeah, that was a pretty impressive. That was a pretty impressive costume. That one actually popped up on Facebook.
Yeah, that one took first place. I think rightfully so. Yeah, it was incredible. I still have pictures to go through from the finals, so we'll eventually get through those, hopefully this weekend. But the cosplay contest was fantastic. We had the Forge Falcons on. They shared some updated details coming with Forge in the next couple of weeks, coming with the Halloween update. Lots of cool new toys to add to Forge, new sounds, new scripting things, just lots of improvements to Forge, which is always a thing. We had the Cannon Fodder Live, which talked a little bit about the new book that is being written by Kelly Gay. So that was out there. We also had the Women of Halo panel, which is kind of a staple over the last few events. That's still ongoing. And there was kind of a little game show-ish thing that, Austin, you were on, a little kind of quiz show that was going on. And I think that was most of the stuff. There were a couple other things I'm sure I'm blanking on, but that was all community stage content, which was really cool. Vendor booths overall were also really well done. It felt a little emptier. Were you there? Have you been there all 3 years, Austin?
Did it start in 2022?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I caught it year one.
Yeah. Okay. The venue definitely felt a little bit more empty this year to me, I think, than at least the first year. I wasn't there last year, but
okay.
Yeah, it definitely feels a little more empty. I'm hoping they kind of improve the showing there, and it sounds like, talking with John Friend, there may be opportunities for future HCS or Halo World Championships to have more booths and things at the venue going forward. So that'd be a good improvement to see there.
Yeah,
lots of.
I can tell you some of the differences if you want.
Yeah, what was kind of notable changes for you? Because I mean, for me, it was kind of a night and day thing. Because the first year obviously was the launch of Halo Worlds or Halo Championship Series for Halo Infinite. So you had Trolleys there, you had Mega there. There was a whole bunch of other vendor booths. Where this year it felt like it was just pretty much the couple of community booths that were there. We had Halo Collector, we had Gamers Outreach, and then we had all of the team booths. I think there were 4 of them. There was Phase, Simplify, SSG, Optic. I think that was maybe the 4. So yeah, what was kind of your take on the venue for this year?
Well, so first and foremost, I wouldn't be able to tell you anything about the actual teams unless you ask me who won in 2023.
We'll get to that a little bit later.
Yeah, because I used to be Greenwall, and then things changed. But no, in 2022, you're right. There was I have a little bit of a thing in my throat, by the way. Sorry about that. But
no worries.
In 2022, they had the Love Sack booth, which was beautiful. The whole there are speakers in this room, but you can't see them because they're built into your furniture and everything else in the walls. And it was awesome. It was a great experience. There was the Dolby Atmos booth that just was packed full of all these different consoles and this 10 by 10 square that you could stand in that was just surrounded. You had free Rockstar energy for the whole venue. They were just handing them out for free if you walked up to the Rockstar venue. And yeah, the trolley worms.
Yep. I walked home with so many packs of those.
Yeah, we made a whole sticker in our Discord based off of the Fiedler Elite because it was just the face is so funny.
Yeah.
And
that's
so
funny.
what I noticed immediately, the difference between 2022 and 2023, the main difference was just not as much fun stuff. It was a lot of the booths for all of the teams and stuff. But even the Marine booth, in 2022, there was the Marine booth where you had to do a weapon drill competition. If you got more points in the weapon drills, you would get things like money or you would get credits and all of that. Really cool stuff. 2023 comes around. It's a pull-up challenge. And if you want, you could do VR pugil sticks. It's kind of it. And don't worry, the moment that you sign up for the pugil sticks, you're on the recruitment list, so you will get contacted.
That popular, huh?
Yeah, I found that out the hard way. So then in 2020, in this year, there's just no Marine booth at all.
Yeah, there was none of that this year. It felt pretty much just like the vendors, and then we also had no vendors. It was just a couple of community booths, and then we had the 4 team booths, and that was it. And everything else was pretty wide open. So I'm hoping future years there's a little bit more things for people to do. And in 2 years it'll be 25 years of Halo, and I know that they're trying to get things really squared up for that event for Worlds. So hopefully things start building back up. It seemed like this year was kind of the year of just prove it. So talking with John Friend, there's kind of this 3-year cycle of okay, proving something is going to last and going to work, and that they're going to try to make a concerted effort to actually get sponsors in. So there's more things to do. There's more presence at Worlds this coming year.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be fun.
Yeah, I don't know why it was such a thing, because it seems like Worlds, it doesn't sell out or anything, but based on how many seats they have, there's no seats available in that final day.
No, there's not.
So you would think that means
that last day.
Exactly. So like you would think that
standing room only pretty much for the the last day.
I'm fighting a losing battle with my camera here, guys. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
You're fine. You can just leave it off and then just focus on like mutant on mutant.
All right.
Yeah, that works.
So that's the thing. You would think that means they made their money back and then they can just use it again the next year, or use whatever else they made at the merch store or anything like that. I don't know how they make the returns. There's no way that I could possibly know that without just walking up to one of their financial guys that are not there and just ask about it.
A whole nother group.
So I would love to see it improve. I would love to see things like the Dolby system come back, especially because that was just a really fun experience, or just any other forms of interaction. But there's really no way of knowing for sure that would actually happen. So you kind of just have to realize that first and foremost, it's an esports thing. It's not like Outpost Discovery, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Where external experiences aren't nearly as important. However, I will say they did a pretty good job making the in spite of the fact that they didn't have what 2022 and 2023 had, which is Jen Taylor and Steve Downs, bottom line. They still made the community stage interesting. They made it really interesting, actually.
That's one thing that they've pulled from Outpost is that community stage, and it's been a staple since then. And Sketch has wanted the Halo Game Show to come back, so maybe for the 25th year of Halo, we might be trying to bring that back. Maybe.
Are you going to host it?
Time will tell. Time will tell.
Listen, I will lose my mind if I see both of you guys up on stage hosting a game show.
That would be pretty cool.
Time will tell on that for sure. Let's see, what else was there going on? Lots of trading and stuff. I've got a few trinkets that I pulled off. I'm gonna kind of shout out the few really interesting ones.
I wish I could show off things I got.
My bag of trinkets that I have from the weekend. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here. Where did I put the coin? Like there's
over there.
There's the coins that I helped. I heard that. Thank you. That doesn't help me at this moment. Did I put them back in here?
There,
I did. I put them back in here. That's why.
Just had them.
They're right there.
So this
right
is
in front
of
you, Dust. Come on.
Thank you. I got it. So the Halo Collector coin, which I think some folks in the chat have seen, and I don't remember if you all saw it, but this is I always help Laird out with backing what they're doing for the Halo Collector type of stuff. I don't have any of the prints, then there's several prints I have, but this is the Halo Collector coin that was made this year. You got the Seattle skyline, you got the Halo Championships series logos, and the top 8 teams that made it. So that's on one side, and then this is the other kind of nice, fun, custom side of things for this coin.
So pretty.
This thing is a lethal weapon. It really
heavy.
is. It is. This is I think 2 3/4 inch coin. So yeah, this is probably one of the nice gems that I have from this weekend.
I have no idea if he's still in the chat, but Laird was in the chat earlier.
He was.
So he is.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks, man. It was really cool.
He likes to lurk in the chat. So he probably is hearing this and just kind of grinning in the background. Mr. Mayor back there. There was also this one was kind of an interesting little trinket. Halo Collector also had these little kind of just little arcade token type things. They had the HCS logo on the back and Halo Collector on there. So little arcade tokens, and if you got a special one of these, you got a print or some collectible thing. I forget which one. This one's from Halo Fan for Life. It's an actual hero medal.
Mm-hmm.
This is probably one of the cool ones. He handmade these, so all the brass wrap around the ribbons, the eagle thing, like he all put these together. So this one is really cool. I got to figure out how I want to like showcase that one off. We also had Kid Skull, who had the same idea last year of doing the credit coins. He actually did them last year. I had no idea he did them. So when I posted these on Twitter, he's like, "Oh yeah, looks familiar," and he posted the same exact thing that I was working on. It's like, well, so much for my original idea of trying to do a coin.
It's like they always say, and there's not an original idea under the sun.
No,
but
not quite.
It's still a good idea, and I'm glad that you did it.
Yeah.
Two great minds think alike.
Exactly. But this year he made little dog tags that are kind of similar to the dog tags that you could get at Outpost, doing all the different activities. So there's a black one, a gold one, and there's a blue one in here as well. And here's the coin that he did last year. His is resin printed. So a little bit more like the actual credit coin. Yeah.
Those look good.
Like if I could afford my own resin printer, maybe. But yeah. And I think that's all kind of there's the blue one of his dog tags. I think all the other.
Did you check to see if the dog tags are the fancy ones that have the? Did you mention that some of the dog tags have like the service numbers and stuff of Spartans on them?
No.
At least on some of them.
I wonder if they're on the back because they're on
the back.
Oh, okay.
They're hidden from public view, so you can't just pick them out.
I haven't actually opened mine yet.
These guys.
Who knows? Maybe you're one of those lucky guys.
I'm going to have to check here in a minute.
I'm not. I checked all of mine already. Mine were just blank and boring.
There's one other thing in here that I was trying to find. Oh, I got. When did I get this from? I forget why I got this. It was for trading something. I forget what it was, but this is a really rare piece. This is I can't remember. Laird, if you're still in the chat, I really don't remember if this is San Diego or not, but Chief Helmet Pin. This is a really rare pin.
I've not seen that. I didn't see that at the event at all, so that's real special.
He's pulling up all these things I didn't see there. I'm like, where was this at? Although I think I saw them.
Where did I find this?
Yeah. Because I traded the coins and some shirts, I also got some official 343 Operation coins. I got the Winter Update and the Hell Jumper Update for Infinite, so got a couple of official Halo coins there.
That's neat.
And I got a lot of prints. Unfortunately, all my prints are, well, I mean, they're in the backpack over there. I could pull them out. Actually, yeah, if you all want to chat for a minute, I'll go get the prints and show those off in a sec.
I can totally... So, how's the weather?
It's going good.
That's what you're going with?
Sure, why not? It's a little hot and sticky here.
It's cold over here.
Now, I want to know, was it that you didn't try to get work off to go to HCS, or you just couldn't get work off to go to HCS?
Well, dollars and time.
Both of those are important. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Currently, we have 2 brand new people at work. So we've been running shorthanded for a while.
Sounds like it. Yeah. Ow.
And unfortunately, with the time I do have, it has been dedicated to other things.
Completely valid. Curious.
All right. I don't have the super nice, awesome print that we have for Halo Collector, but I do have 2 of them. Actually, 3 of them. Wow. All my prints except for one is Halo Collector. Wow. This is the first one. It's a pixel holographic print. So that's the first Halo Collector print I have. The second one.
Yeah, that's a Sky
cool.
original right there.
Yeah,
that's sweet.
That's a nice one. And then the third one is a collaboration that they did with Women of Halo.
Well, that's cool.
And then Austin and Connor, you probably can guess what the last one was.
Oh boy, I wonder.
Is it multiple in one small package?
No. The artist behind this one.
The artist.
Yeah.
I love that person.
Yes. Pixel Flare.
I do. I don't remember which one I got. I don't think I got one that I wanted. I wanted that one, I think, and I didn't get it.
I'm sorry. This was the last one of this I think he had at the museum. So I managed to get the last one of those, I think, before he ran out.
Yeah, it's just a nice little setup. I don't know what it is. Weapon just chilling out there is just a very adorable concept.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a little bit of my collectibles that I got. I missed out, unfortunately, on your Virgil plushes.
Yeah, you messed out on quite a few things, actually. I don't know if you really wanted them, but we were also handing out hair bow ribbon things.
I actually did get one of those.
You did?
Laird had an extra one, yes. He had an SSG one, and I actually got it.
Okay, so then you did get one. So there was that. Then we had the superintendent plushies. Then we also had JumperScape stickers, which we just kind of handed off. We had an ODST that was just hidden in the crowd. On their shoulder, shout out to Pfeiffer, on his shoulder and on his waist, he had our logo just kind of printed on there. And his call sign started with JS. So you know what that's a reference to.
Yep.
And and so we just kind of gave him like 100 stickers, and he just kept them in one of his little pouches, and then he would just walk up to random people, confident as he could be, because he's wearing a whole suit that no one can see his face, just walking up to them and just handing them stickers. And then on top of all of that, the big attraction that everyone was asking about that I did not have enough to hand out was our calendars.
I'll get mine in the mail. That's fine.
Did you support?
I thought I did. Did I not? Well, no, I don't know. I can. You asked me for my name, and I thought you said you'd give me a calendar in return.
Oh,
or maybe not.
I'll have to see about that. I think
I'll pay for one if I did.
I'll have to see, because we got these. Like, I have one on hand. I keep one on me, although it's blurred. It's there.
Oh, we saw it.
They were like custom printed. I can probably see. There's quite a few people that I said that I would get them some, and we still have a little bit left that I can order a few, so I could probably make that happen.
No worries if not.
But I feel bad.
Is that something you're going to do like every year? Like just have a calendar for... I mean, now with the... I know we haven't gotten the announcement yet, but with with all the new graphic stuff that we're going to get from Halo, there's going to be plenty of content for another calendar.
Trust me, this was such a success, actually, that it's not even like a question that this is what's going to happen.
I'm sure there's a lot of artists out there that would love to contribute to that.
I've gotten so many DMs, so many, because, you know, like I've said plenty of times, this whole community is filled with so much freaking talent. And the hard part is figuring out which ones do you select, because all of them want to do it. All of them have talent.
That's hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
and
really
so next year is going to be interesting, because I'm trying to reach out to some actual, some folks that have worked on the actual Halo art. I'm trying to see about that, to see if concept artists and all that, see if they might be interested, just for fun, and just to add a little bit of extra oomph to it.
Yeah.
And also we're going to be probably upping the actual reward pool, because in this one you're getting, if you supported, you get a superintendent plushie, you get a print of one of the art pieces as like a little card, and then you get a sticker based off of one of these little pieces, and then you get the calendar itself. And so next year we might just increase that and see what else we can throw in with the package just to make it even more fun. So yeah, it's an interesting thing all around. It was one of the most, not gonna lie, it was kind of an annoying project to do.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Calendars are annoying. I'm not going to be sleeping on calendar companies ever again. They have to go through the ringer, okay?
I'm curious about that story.
Dude, do you have any idea how annoying it is just to enter all that information on every single day of a calendar?
Oh, as far as the birthdays and stuff, yeah, okay. No,
adding the information, adding the holidays, adding all of this stuff, making the design itself. I designed it myself. I designed the actual days and the bottom half of the calendar. All my design, that was days of just figuring out, how do you make a calendar?
That's the real fight that we're fighting, making calendars.
It was so, it was a hassle. It was a whole night of work in and of itself. Just cause, I didn't have some sort of pre-made software that could just do this for me. I'm sure that, Big Calendar has some software that they can just throw on whatever numbers they want. But I had to manually go in and line up all of the calendar days to go with all of the months of 2025, and that was an entire night's work itself because it kept on going misaligning, and I would go flipping through the pages, and it's slightly off, and
there's this thing called the grid, and then you just match it up to the grid, and then
a digital frontier. I tried to picture class.
you picked up on my reference. Very, very good. Very good. GT would be proud of me. I picked up a movie reference. You happy? You happy for me, Pins? Yeah.
It's one of my favorite movies. I'm not going to miss out on that one.
It's a great movie. It's a great movie. I need to watch it again.
Good morning,
the original.
Dave.
I just watched that one this year for the first time.
Seriously.
I've watched it at least now.
Serious. This year?
Yeah. It's a weird movie.
No, it's okay. I'll deflect. I've never seen it.
It is a weird movie.
I'll deflect. I've just never seen it. I'm sorry. It's on the list. I promise. It's just my list is like 16 pages long of just movie titles.
Maybe that's what we need to have during World is like, okay, we're just going to have a movie watch party for one of the nights or something.
Dude, I would be so down for that because I had a plan to host like a bunch of content creators and streamers and 343 Industries, formerly known as employees at our B&B just to play Halo and just do stuff. But then like nobody got back to me, really. Even the folks that did get back to me didn't get back to me at Worlds because, believe it or not, everything just goes out the window once you're at Worlds.
Yeah. No, I
Time
feel you there.
flew by so fast when we were there.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the one big community event that was tried to be organized fell through.
You talking about the dinner?
Yeah. Yeah. Poor Laird and Callie trying to get that thing organized, and there we are at Elephant and Castle with planning on 60 plus people, which ended up being about 100 people that night that I had to redirect over to the other bar, just sitting outside the Elephant and Castle for an hour. And then half the people just came back after the bar closed. Elephant and Castle.
All I'm saying is I understand making it a public thing. Really nice. Very kind. There are a lot of people in the Halo community.
Yes.
So that's what happened. I didn't know why I went to the other place.
Yeah, it was just it was public. Everyone showed up. Folks that I know there were folks there that aren't even content creators that were just, they saw the tweet. They're going to be there. They're probably VIP ticket holders maybe. And then they show up hoping to meet their favorite creators. Granted, good idea. Sure. Why not? At a venue like that though? No.
Yeah.
It was an interesting situation. But hey, it worked out in the end because then everyone after the bar closed came back, just didn't mention they were there for Halo, and then they were allowed to be seated.
Well, everyone got individual tables instead of us trying to fit a party of 60 into the party room.
Yeah, JumperScape casually taking the entire back half of the building, basically.
Yeah, I saw that. Once I saw the first group say they were at the bar and came back because it was closed, I'm like, okay, I'm just not waiting anymore. Because I was literally turning people to the bar at least every 5 minutes.
I was wondering how long you were going to stay in there.
It was consistent. Like, Laird and Callie took the party over to the bar like at 8:40 or something, 8:45. And I waited there for the hour, and it was like clockwork. At least every 5 minutes, there was a new group that came by that was there for the Halo party, the Halo community party.
I don't know, man. It's
a good thing though. I mean, in one case, it's a good problem to have because you know that there's that many people interested in trying to do something like that.
Oh yeah, so. I mean, I think we constantly misrepresent, or at least not we, grifters. They like to really say that Halo is a dead franchise. I've said this so many freaking times. I'm going to say it one more time. If you think this is what a dead franchise is, you've never seen a dead franchise.
Yes. Yes. I think we touched a little bit on that during the live stream on Sunday, too.
Yep. Golden Boy dropped the hardest line of all time, saying, like, dead franchises don't have $1 million tournaments.
Yeah.
That was my favorite phrase he had.
He dropped that. He could have walked out at that point, and I would have been satisfied.
Yeah. You want to see dead franchises? Like, what did he say? Starfront or Battlefront?
He said, oh, gosh, what did he say?
I think Battlefront was one of them.
Was it Starfield?
Starfield.
No, it wasn't Starfield.
No.
Starfield's fine. It was an
Star
older game.
something.
Yeah.
It's
Anyways.
an older game. It's so dead we can't even remember the name. And
Exactly. There you go. That's how you know it's dead. Yeah, I thought it was Battlefront. Yeah, Bobby said Battlefront 2.
He did mention Battlefront 2, saying that like esports was a dead concept.
Right.
Yeah.
StarCraft. Okay. Yeah, StarCraft. That was it. And then the after party. So that reminds me. How did your little dinner go?
Oh, the dinner with the artists?
Or the one that one of your fans wanted to come cook dinner for you at your Airbnb?
Oh, right.
The burgers.
This is the JumperScape Podtacular little segment of what happened during Halo Worlds at the moment.
Listen, man, I could probably go on for a while about all the stuff that I was not expecting to happen with JumperScape.
That was easily one of them.
Yeah, I think probably. Okay, so first of all, we get things started interesting by having our own branded vehicle, which was it's a gift from a Patreon member.
Which you had me, Uber Nick, and Hidden Experience go down and sign.
Yes, and we're so thankful that Xperia chose the hood of the car and the engine to sign. Which then later in the night, Halo Box Studios showed up and also signed the engine. And he was just collecting signatures the whole time. He's making it into like our logo is the first on that car, but his plan is to take it to other events and put other logos and stuff on it. It's just JumperScape is the opener, basically.
Right.
His car, we're not taking it from him. It's his vehicle. But then after that, he walks in. The guy who drives that car comes in, and long story short, we got into this 1v1 situation during a game night, and the people kept on shouting double or nothing on the prize for whoever won. The prize, of course, being a McChicken. So by the time that I had finished beating him 7 times in a row, we had 64 McChickens that I had won. And the plan was to bring them to HCS, and he delivered. He called the McDonald's ahead of time. He called all of them in Seattle, found the one McDonald's that was interested in making 64 McChickens, got them, brought them to the first floor of the building, and we just handed them out for free for everybody who was showing up to the event. And I think we fed basically the entire event staff, and if we wanted to, we could have gotten backstage because of that.
Easily 25 pounds worth of just straight McChicken.
That's wild.
We really wanted our first year there to be kind of something memorable for a lot of folks.
No kidding.
Yeah, it was fun. We just like there's a reason why one of our mottos, because the primary one for this year is empowering creatives to be creative, but the real one is we like to have fun here. That's our MO. If we have an opportunity, it's all we do. If we have an opportunity to have fun, we are going to have fun safely. And handing out McChickens for free for people who were just dumbfounded at the concept, especially since they started telling others and others started coming down to the first floor just to get McDonald's from us. That was great. Following all that up with people signing the car and a dinner at our Airbnb. One of our audience members. I'm not good at calling people fans. They're just part of the audience. This guy shows up and it's just he's got like 2 or 3 pounds of just straight ground beef, and he's just like, "Let me cook burgers for you." I'm like, "I'm not stopping you. Go ahead." We have a grill on our roof access, so he just fires up the grill and we're chilling up there on the roof, and he cooks all of us freaking burgers at like 11 p.m. It was something, dude.
Yep. That's why you didn't come to dinner with us that night, because you had someone come and making dinner for you.
I've never been good at the after party thing. I tried one year, and it was because it was that one time that Xperia, Luke, he had a birthday in 2022 on the same weekend as HCS. If you remember that.
Yep.
That was my first experience going to any form of after party, especially for an event like that. And I just remember I wasn't anyone in the community yet. I hardly consider myself to be one now. And at the time, I'm watching all these people that I've only seen through a screen, YouTubers, streamers, 343 employees, all of them getting crunk. And I'm just like, this is fun. I have no idea what I'm doing here though. And
yeah, I lasted until about midnight for the after parties, and like I got a flight in the morning. I'm going to bed. There were some people that stayed up through the morning.
I don't doubt it, dude. There's some folks. I mean, we just couldn't. I mean, first of all, we had a flight we had to catch at midnight on Sunday, and
dang.
Yeah, I didn't want to have to pay for an extra night, so I just had us fly out at midnight. Everyone called off on Monday, so we just slept through that day. But
I took off Tuesday. Yeah.
There you go. But after parties, like if I were to do after parties, if let's say is like an entity, JumperScape did after parties, I'd probably send like Connor, James, or Ashton, not me.
Yeah. We're definitely, well, my plan is for just, I guess I'm going to spoil this a little bit. Next year's Podtacular 20, so trying to do the whole Airbnb thing, trying to do a party thing. There will probably be some kind of one of the nights, either like a Friday night or Saturday night, have some kind of just like open Halo type thing. Don't know if we're going to rent out the place or something, but there'll be some kind of like evening party. It won't be like after party as far as like after HCS is done. But
yeah,
because I'm guessing some folks that are going to be coming will probably want to just be there for the Podtacular stuff and then head out. But yeah,
so we're invited, right?
Oh yeah,
sick. Okay, cool.
Oh yeah. I'm not paying your way there, but you're invited.
That's fine. That's fine. You don't have to. I'll just use my United miles.
No, the idea is to definitely. So for 10-year, we did a bar in Austin because we did it alongside RTX when RTX was still a thing, and our anniversary more lines up to RTX because it's July, into July. I think the going
normally,
yeah. Well, I mean, the anniversary is still the anniversary. It doesn't change. It's just whenever we get to it. Allegedly. So for the 20-year, we're thinking about doing World as the place to bring everyone to do things together, just because that's going to be the Halo event that we know most people would probably be interested in going to. It's a Halo event. There'll be things to do there. And also, it's Seattle. There's a fair amount of people that are kind of already in that area. So that's kind of the going idea that we have as far as Podtacular 20-year anniversary. And probably get an Airbnb for all the Podtacular former staff and hosts, depending on what we can get. Trying to probably put together some kind of event to celebrate as well. So we'll see. We'll see what's in the cards for that event. But yeah, that'll be coming up at some point. So yeah, I think we talked a lot about kind of what we were up to during Worlds. One thing I want to touch on before we jump into kind of the newsy type stuff is obviously who won, who were the top three, continuing their streak for the past few events, pretty much the whole season. No surprise, SSG came out on top, so congratulations to SSG, and more notably, a first international champion. And that, I think, is key, because this is the first time that we've had an international player not even just get the top three, but actually become a Halo World champion. And I've been waiting for this moment. I mean, all the teams are great that we have in HCS, and I don't discount all the US-based teams, but it's nice to see that we have international representation that can actually play on the level, because it's been dominated by the North American teams for so long. So it's nice to see international talent actually be able to play at that level. So Legend being a French player coming in and completely just rocking it, getting championship gold at Worlds is a monumental achievement for Halo. And it's like, okay, that's that stepping stone to really say Halo is a international esport. I think that cannot be understated.
Yeah, especially since it was a reverse sweep. Like, that doesn't happen very often either.
Yeah, watching that go down was nuts, just exciting all the way through. It was a great match at the end.
I thought Optic had them on the heels as far as trying to get things to actually, you know, they're making that comeback. They're coming from losers bracket. They beat out FaZe, so FaZe got third place. Optic getting second place in the long run. But Optic is a team that if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. So if they're on a roll, they typically can keep that roll. But SSG just had a good game. That was all they needed to kind of flip the switch. And then they just kind of held Optic at bay for the rest of the series. So the last series, it was 3-0 in Optic's favor for the last series, which is the last series is the best of 7. And then SSG just came back for the full reverse sweep. It was pretty amazing. The crowd was nuts too.
The energy, dude. It was. This was the entertaining part for me. My team has not interacted with anything esports ever. Like
we dabble.
Yeah, and so watching their I had interacted obviously because of the whole HCS being there in 2022 and 2023. Before that, only like maybe if you count the Battlefield 4 beta EU versus US match that they did, which was really fun to watch. Since I'm pretty sure freaking Phil Spencer himself was the commander for that match. But anyway,
wow,
that was fun. That was a really fun match to watch. I'm pretty sure it was someone important like that. But point being, these guys who had never even seen this before, probably the guy that I was expecting the least interested, James, one of the other hosts on the library, and in many ways, right-hand man, his eyes were lit up like a child on Christmas morning. He was like, he was caught in Pure's story. He was caught in SSG's comeback. He looked at me and did that whole like Danny DeVito thing where he's just, I get it. And it was
there's something special about competitive Halo that really just gets people ingrained in watching.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was great. It was so much fun. And also, like I said, I changed teams real fast because I walked in with the green wall, and by the time that we hit Sunday, I was shouting "Break the wall!"
And their fans were in full force. Mm-hmm. I don't forget turning around in Austin and flexing my jersey on them while we were winning. Because I was SSG before I even knew who they were. Because I was never been a Optic or Phase guy. I'm like, we'll go for SSG, and then they won.
Yeah, I've been a fan of SSG ever since knowing that Elamite's one of the people that started or founded SSG, and also Ubernick is on with them as a content creator for SSG. So it's like, well, I know a lot of people in the SSG org. That's kind of the way I'm going to lean as far as a team to root for. And Snipedown's not competing anymore, and neither is Pistola, which they were kind of the two that I would root for from an individual perspective. So SSG is kind of my team at the moment.
I was originally Laird was trying to get me to switch to SSG back in 2023. And I wouldn't budge, and then Optic disappointed me, and then approaching 2024, and I realized they're going up against SSG, not FaZe. I was like, okay, maybe we should reevaluate.
Yeah. And Optic, what was it? They beat FaZe 3-1 in the losers elim.
Mm-hmm.
So they were heavy on a victory, and it definitely showed that for the 3-0 that they started off with in winners final. But SSG managed to flip the switch on them, and that's when Optic broke down on a game type that should have been in Optic's favor too.
They just really liked being second man this year.
It'll be interesting to see what shakeups they have going on for next year.
I will say there was James pointed this out to me actually. SSG took it a little far on their reactions on social media. For those who don't know.
They're almost like the Wendy's of the Halo socials.
They kind of are. That's a good way to put it. Yeah. They understand the gamer vibe of the modern day. Basically, Optic's just like, this was a great game from SSG. GG's to them. They did a really good job on stage today. And then SSG posts a freaking meme of the guy posing with peace signs in front of a tombstone, and it just says "Rip Optic" on the tombstone. And it's like, geez, dude. You didn't, fair, valid, kind of, but man.
Yeah, they were a little savage. Just a little bit.
But that makes them so entertaining to watch, because then you're just like, now you can turn them into a heel almost from that.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
It'll be interesting to see how things pan out next year. We've had
I'll be very excited.
Yeah, we've had 3 different teams at least for the last 3 years. We had Optic the first year, FaZe last year, and now SSG.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. No repeats. It's usually you've got at least one in the first 3.
Well, during Halo 5, what was it? 2, 3 world championships that Optic had back to back? Or the Optic squad, like they were Tox and then they were Optic, and I forget who they were before Tox. But yeah, they were the reigning champions in Halo for the longest time. And it took a while for that balance to kind of sneak back in for some of the other teams to make their impact into the competitive side of things. But yeah, it's there's a lot of good competition now in the competitive scene, which makes it a whole lot more entertaining than just having the same team win over and over again. So congratulations to SSG. Definitely a well-deserved win. It'll be interesting to see how things pan out next year. And again, huge congrats to Legend for being the first international player to be a Halo World Champion. That's gotta be an amazing feeling. That's just gotta be, yeah, so cool.
Absolutely.
On the news side of things, should we hit the big news first, or should we hit kind of some of the smaller stuff first and save the big stuff for last?
GT, what do you think?
What do you want to talk about the most?
Let's just rip the bandage off.
All right.
Oh boy.
343 Studios or 343 Industries is no more. It is now Halo Studios under new management.
Ish.
Well, yeah, ish. Yeah. There was a Vidoc that was shown during the intermission between the elimination finals and the grand finals, showing the new direction, or at least giving us a glimpse into the new direction that the studio is taking. With that, the Blam engine is no more, or it's not going to be the engine for Halo titles going further. Halo has fully adopted, as a lot of people have leaked and suspected, Unreal Engine for Halo games going forward. A lot of people have brought this up, and it seems like it's definitely a question. Talking with the chief of staff, Melissa, I forget what her last name is. She was in the Vidoc. It was a question that she's gotten a lot from a lot of people is, will it maintain the Halo feel that we're used to? There's all the little quirky things that the Halo engine does. You look at everything that Blitz does or Monopoly does, from glitching for speedruns to crazy clips that you see in multiplayer. A lot of those are the Halo feel. And it's going to be a matter of, is that a Blam engine thing and can that be replicated? Or is that a Havoc physics thing, which someone pointed out Unreal supports the Havoc engine. It's possible that we get the Halo feel, but that's one of the things that a lot of people have been asking, and it seems like it's a pretty universal thing. Will it feel like Halo? Because you got all the graphics, you got all the sandbox items. That's all great, but if it doesn't feel like Halo, it's going to be that, okay, it looks like it, doesn't feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something they're very focused on.
Yeah, I think they'll get it close, but it's going to feel different.
Thank you, Penn.
And it doesn't matter. I mean, it will. They will work as hard as they can to get it to feel the same, but it's not going to feel the same. The interaction between the Blam engine and Havoc have always had a unique reactions. And I think if you try to duplicate them, it's going to feel false, like it's being forced. Is the game going to be fun? I hope so. But it's not, I just don't see where it's going to feel the same as it does now. It will be close, but I don't think it's going to feel the same.
It's a matter of how much is reliant on the Blam engine versus how much is reliant on Havoc and what they can do to make that happen. The feel is something that they are focused on. They are.
Yeah, I know they're going to focus on it a lot, because honestly, the graphics and the gameplay, that's the easy part.
Yeah.
When you're trying to recreate what Halo is. Because graphics, as long as it looks good, that's all people care about. As long as the gameplay's there, the game types, and story for the campaign, provided there is going to be a campaign. As long as those elements are there, Unreal will be able to deliver that with no problem. They've already proven that with their little test that they did. But the way it feels when you get it in front of you on a console or on your PC, when you get that controller in your hand, and I just don't think it's going to be the same. I mean, they had that problem with Infinite when it first launched. There was a lot of physics that they fixed unintentionally, and the community called them out on it.
It'll be interesting. I'm not counting them out yet. That's something that they're focused on.
Yeah,
it's just going to be a matter of we have to wait and see.
Yeah, I'm not getting my hopes up. Halo Studios is going to have to prove themselves to me.
That's another thing that's been brought up in the community a lot. It is a rebrand.
It is a rebrand, and granted, pretty much the entire management staff has changed. There is nobody there from 343 Industries. Anybody that's there from 343 Industries had no input into the decision-making of the studio. The fact that they're doing it this way, the path that they have taken, it's left a sour taste in my mouth. Microsoft, 343 Industries can a lot of good people. I'm not saying that they all deserve to say, but there are some of those that they were just doing what they were told. And they had very little input into what decisions were made, like the entire campaign team. Anyway, to now rebrand the studio and post, hey, we got jobs open now. You already had those jobs filled until you canned them. That really personally gripes me. That is, to me, that's just, it feels like a low blow to all those people that were there. We're going to can you so we can do this rebrand and then give your job to somebody else. It just, to me, it leaves a bad taste. I do have hope for the studio. And with the move to Unreal Engine 5, the next Halo game is going to launch much smoother, I think. It should launch a lot more complete.
We hope.
There shouldn't be any major hurdles for them to overcome to actually produce the game in a playable state. The biggest thing is going to be the game feel. So
my other thought would be Forge. How is Forge going to be supported in this?
Exactly. I think Forge probably will be okay. They just will have to develop. They're going to have to develop new tools to interact with the Unreal Engine to allow. Well, they have to completely rebuild Forge.
They do,
and they're going to have. It's going to be a big job, especially after what they dropped with Infinite.
And Infinite's Forge is powerful. Now, granted, and I know Duquesne touts this one all the time, but the Fortnite creator mode is very powerful.
Mm-hmm. And I've heard good things about it too.
So Fortnite's very, very rich with custom content, with user generated content. So it seems like it's, as far as the other engines available, a pretty good fit for Forge going forward, to not continue the Blame engine. And during the Vidoc, it was brought up that 343 is basically a technical studio and a game studio all in one, because they were managing their own engine and also making a game.
Yeah,
and now they don't have to worry about the engine nearly as much.
Yeah, and that was one of the big problems. It's been a problem ever since Halo began. Bungie had the same problems, managing the game engine and designing the game at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a new thing. It's something that is part of the history of Halo. It's the way it's always been done with with Halo. And in the early days, that was your only choice because you didn't have Unreal Engine. It didn't exist. If you wanted a game engine, you had to make it. You know, there were no other choices. So I do wish them the best, but unfortunately, I got to be the Debbie Downer, and they're going to have to prove it to me.
Can I add
I
on
don't
to
think
the
you're
Debbie
the only
Downing?
person that feels that way. I feel like there's definitely folks in the community, and this I've seen this across socials and some different YouTube videos. Is like it's a rebrand. It's still the same people that have been there for the last year or so. Granted, there's been major overhauls in leadership and also the unfortunate turnover that's been there. That's kind of been forced by Microsoft. And I think it's a good stance to take. We got to be cautiously optimistic. We can't just say, "Oh, it's a new studio. It's whole new opportunities to do things right." It's like, well, no. There's a track record that needs to be proven that this new direction, this revamp, is kind of a new start for Halo.
Well, the same company's paying the bill.
Yes. They did mention multiple projects, which a lot of people have taken to mean that they're working on multiplayer experiences and single player experiences, given that there's a lot of job postings for campaign type stuff and also engine type stuff. One of the things that the Vidoc was trying to get out there was because it's a new engine, there's lots of new jobs out there. So if this is something that you wanted to do, work in Halo, and you have experience in Unreal, this is a possible opportunity for you to dive in and make your mark on Halo.
And if I can add on to the Debbie Downing side of things, I had to sit down for this.
I noticed the death started to go down.
Do you guys have you guys seen the posts? Halo follower posted about one single post from this guy, but I actually did the digging and looked through all of them. Do you know who Will Waltz is?
Does not ring any bells.
Saying no is completely valid. Nobody knew until he posted these things. So
Halo follower try to kind of, it's Halo follower.
Yeah. So Will Waltz, he worked at 343 for 13 years, and he has been on a little bit of a tirade on LinkedIn, of all places. A place that you don't normally see people go on a tirade because everyone that is important can see that. But I think he's kind of bitter, and I think it's for a good reason. I'm going to go into more in depth on it whenever we do our show next week. But for the surface level of this whole thing, he posted this thing all about just kind of saying that this whole thing about 343 Studios or Halo Studios, 343 Industries rebranding to Halo Studios. Yeah. It's sort of like changing. He put it as it's like Comcast calling themselves Xfinity, and hoping nobody notices.
He's not wrong.
Yeah. In the replies, Tim Dadabo, 343 himself, he pops in and he's just like, odd, I seemed to like 343 as well. And then Waltz replies saying, I feel like they're changing the name to try and escape all the hate they got for being horrible to all of us during Infinite and post-Infinite, forcing everyone to use Slipspace for 7 years after we told them we needed to switch to Unreal to keep making good on our promise with the fans is like an abuser cherry on top. Actually, making it seem like they just thought up the switch to Unreal is the cherry on top. There are other replies where he basically implies that he and his team had been saying for the longest time you needed to switch to Unreal before Infinite was even in development. And then they refuse, they deny, and then he and his team were part of the layoffs. And then after the layoffs, a year after the layoffs, they're just like, hey, guess what? We're making the switch to Unreal Engine.
Mm-hmm.
It puts a bad taste into a lot of the people that worked there's mouths. And that's the thing that a lot of people are who have looked into this are thinking, oh, 343 is still there, because what people associate with 343 is this lack of communication, and then whatever you do find out about is actually kind of horrible. Halo Studios so far, momentarily after release, doesn't do anything to disprove it.
No, but at the same time, and I'm not trying to discredit anyone's feelings or anyone's observations on this, but new management 343 Industries, now Halo Studios, was under new management, and when you have someone like that, it's a dynamic shift. I mean, I'm part of an organization whose leadership changes every 3 years because it's a military based organization, and reorgs rarely finish because the new leadership comes in and has a new vision, a new direction, and it might be people have an idea and it's not garnered on, it's not taken seriously, and then new leadership comes in and it's like, yeah, that's a great idea, let's do that. So part of that is just the unfortunate thing of that's just how businesses run. And it sucks. It definitely makes it look bad and leaves a sour taste in people's mouths. Like, well, we were recommending this. Well, sorry, the leadership that was there before didn't agree with that direction. There's new leadership, new thoughts, new ideas. They agree with it. Like, yeah, it sucks. And I'm not saying that it's not necessarily right or wrong, but if one set of leadership had a vision, and clearly the vision didn't work, which is why that leadership's not there anymore. Now there's a new person in there, and unfortunately, that vision came in too late. But that's part of just how businesses run. Yeah,
I think people are just worried about how much the suits take over. That's what they're really worried about.
Yeah, and to GT's point, they need to prove themselves. It's not enough to say, yes, there's new leadership, because that new leadership doesn't necessarily mean things are fixed overnight. And everyone praised it when Microsoft brought Joe Staten over to work on Halo. It's like, just because Joe Staten's being brought in doesn't mean that Halo is instantly saved. Like,
no,
that's not what it means. And you can't say that for any leadership. It takes time to mold a new direction, to really get people on board with what you're trying to do, what the goals that you're trying to change. And people can say, oh, it's going to be whole grader, but people also take time to change, and visions take time to develop and mature. And we've seen a lot of stuff come out lately with supposed leaks from people that know folks within 343, and some of them may be true, some of them probably are true, as far as teams not being able to talk to other teams during infamous development, which is a crazy thing to think about, but there's some validity there. And sometimes it takes those major leadership changes, and it takes a big effort to make that happen, which now we're in the early stages of, and we'll see the fruits of that labor whenever the next title releases.
I just hope this new leadership is willing to listen to the people that know their business. The people the people that write the code, that are actually building the game, are your leading experts on what your workflow should be, what type of tools you should be using, because that's their job. Unfortunately, and I've seen this happen many, many times. I was actually a victim of this as well. New leadership comes in and doesn't listen to the people that have been in the trenches doing it. In my particular profession, I have 30 years of experience. I had new leadership come in that had never done what I do before, had zero experience, and did not take anything I said to heart. And guess what? That leadership is failing. That leadership, he can't maintain what he was doing. He's not staying in the business because he refused to listen to anybody that was there dealing with the people, dealing with the industry, because he had a better idea. So my hope is that this new leadership and Microsoft listen to the people that are actually building the game.
That's the other side of the coin, is Microsoft.
And unfortunately, happens more often than not. People that have no idea what you're doing are trying to tell you how to do your job. And they put restrictions on you, they put limits on you that affect the outcome of what you can produce. I'm not saying give them an unlimited budget. I'm not saying do not give them any kind of direction. Give them the direction and give them the tools to make what you see happen. And listen to them when they say it's not possible. So I'll be interested to see how things go with Halo Studios, but probably not going to be on the pre-order bandwagon this year.
That's some serious words, my guy.
I don't think we're seeing a pre-order for any new game, at least for a couple of years.
For this next game cycle, I probably will not be on the pre-order list.
Last time I pre-ordered a game.
And yeah. I mean, I probably won't even try to look for any special edition or anything like that. And I've collected, up to this point, I've collected all the special editions for Halo when it comes to the game. I'm only missing 2 consoles that are the special edition consoles. I would still like to complete that collection. I just haven't had the opportunity. But I don't know that I'm going to go there with this next game, if there are even options. Because by the time the next Halo game comes out, there's probably going to be a new console generation.
That's kind of what the rumor's been.
If Xbox continues with consoles.
Oh, that's a whole another discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Leadership change is definitely a possibility for things to improve. They need to show that, obviously. The tech demo itself, though, everything looks incredible.
Oh, it looks great.
Yeah.
The only thing I didn't like was the lens flare on the sword. That whole thing, that's the only thing I didn't like. It was just way overdone.
It's a plasma blade, and that's it. It's just...
Well, it was the addition of the lens flare over the Chief's body that...
I completely agree.
It just... I mean, yeah okay. I know it's a very bright source of light, but it distracted me from the video.
I'll tell you what didn't distract me. I was so actually hype over seeing their concept of the Blight Lands, that huge flood-ridden land. That was 100% gorgeous. The environments that Unreal can pull off it's undeniable. It does such a good job.
I would go for disgusting, but
it's beautiful in a disgusting way. Some morticians might find it beautiful. But that's the thing. I can understand a whole lot of what people are talking about, and I'm in that pool of people that are worried about Unreal has a look. Unreal has a feel. And so if Halo is stepping into that, it's difficult to make Unreal not feel like Unreal. And so I'm cautiously optimistic. I do think that they could probably pull off something really impressive with it, especially visually, and making it look better than Halo Infinite, especially. I'm sure that that's a top priority, because there's just, man, I could go on like a whole... We've done it before on our show, like hours long of just talking about where Halo Infinite's visuals confusingly fall short. But with Unreal, that's obviously not going to be the case. It's going to be looking gorgeous in many ways. It's a matter of whether or not they can make it with the incredible visuals and with the incredible smoothness that comes with Unreal. If they can make that look and feel like Halo at the same time, and not have to do things super overblown, because I am worried about them being like, that energy sword is really cool. What if it looked like that all the time? Stuff like that. Although I don't think that I do not want to weigh in on this for very long. Everyone on the internet that's upset about the armor design is just weird. they're just,
it's fine to me. It's the Mark V.
I liked the armor design. The brightness of the armor, how crisp it was, is probably what's thrown everybody off. Because the armor up until now, it hasn't really looked new, like over new. I mean, even the Elite's armor, it looked so good it almost looked fake.
People were comparing it to toy photography a little bit.
I wouldn't quite go that far, but
I can see what you mean.
It's something. It's a product of using the Unreal Engine. Unreal is just amazing when it comes to visuals. I've seen enough gameplay with Unreal Engine that I know that it damn near, if you can dream it, it can do it.
For me, I think it's at the point now, like, we know Unreal is the direction. We know Unreal is a good engine with regards to graphical fidelity. It's now going to be and maybe this is the flexibility and freedom that 343 is looking to get with Unreal, but it's now going to be, okay, what can the artists do to convey the Halo worlds? And not just that, it's not just the visuals, but it's also the compelling story and the compelling environments. Because, like, yeah, you can have something that looks pretty, but if it doesn't play well, if the story's not great, then it doesn't really matter, does it?
So which is completely doable.
Yeah, I will say that the next Halo game is going to be a lot more reliant on the artists and how well they can convey the Halo feel through what you see.
And Microsoft, please get rid of the 18-month contract requirement. That's so stupid.
Yeah. Well,
seriously, let people be full-time employees.
Let people bake.
We want those. Because seriously,
let them cook.
I'm not entirely convinced that the slip space replacement was necessary had they actually had people that knew the engine.
It wasn't.
But
if they would have put together a team and kept that team together, Infinite would have been a totally different game. But when you keep changing pieces, it falls apart.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people get used to working with people and they start thinking alike and they start predicting problems before they happen because they see it. They're like, that doesn't look right. You might want to look at that before it actually breaks the game. Slipspace is a good engine. Just nobody knows it. It's kind of like...
There are a lot of things that went against Halo Infinite's success.
Yeah.
A lot of it sounds like it was corporate crap and leadership.
I honestly, I don't blame the former heads of 343. I'm not saying they're absolved of all blame. There is some stuff that they should have done that they didn't do, which I can see with the restrictions that were placed on them. It made their job very difficult. And once you make a job difficult, you know, how much do you actually care about that job? You know, you mentioned it earlier, Austin, you're having fun doing what you do. Well, if it wasn't fun, would you do it?
No.
Exactly. You know, I learned a long time ago, you've got to enjoy your job. You don't have to look forward to it. You don't have to make it your life's work. But whatever you do, you must enjoy doing it, or it just becomes a grind. You know, do I want to do what I'm doing the rest of my life? No. Do I dread getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning every day to go to work? Yes. But I still have fun at the job. It still presents me with challenges that I have to overcome every day. You know, it's not just a walk in the park. It presents challenges to me, even though I've been doing it for almost 30 years. So anyway, I've got, you know, the best wishes to the new team. I hope that what they turn out is worthy of the following that they have. And hopefully they can bring Halo back to the forefront. But they're going to have to do something really special to do that. And one of them is they're going to have to earn our trust again.
And what I would love to see. Go ahead.
I said, I've loved the Halo franchise for a long time. Dust was kind enough to invite me on to be a co-host on this podcast. You know, I've been with the podcast for over 10 years, which I just came to the realization. Anyway, and it's connected me with people that share the same hobby as me. People that love Halo. They love the lore. They love the games. the community, just the artists, the people that do audio dramas, the people that do machinima, all these people are here because of Halo. Not just Halo CE, not just Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo 4, Halo 5, Infinite, because of Halo as a group. So I just hope that we can get back to where we can trust them to be the caretakers of this universe that we all love. So, what were you going to say, Austin?
Oh, what I was going to say is actually bouncing off of what you were saying. People who, what they could do to gain some trust and reflecting people having fun with what they're doing. Dust, did you have a chance to try that demo that guy was walking around with the Steam Deck? Did you see him though? Crap. So here's the thing. Ubernick and a couple other streamers got to try this demo out. There was a guy named Nate. I don't know if you've heard of him before, J-Bobs.
Yeah.
Yep.
We've had him on the podcast, I think, for some other Halo fan projects before. And we actually need to reach out to some of the Unreal projects and actually, like, I want to reach out to them to have them on the show to talk about, okay, what's your experience with building Halo experiences in Unreal? So that's a podcast that we will have at some point in the near future, hopefully.
Dude, just ask me. I work on all of their teams.
Well, I'm in most of their Discord and in some of their insider ones, and I just haven't had the time to actually dive into any of their playtests.
Yeah, this was funny for them. This was a really funny reveal for them. Because basically, this was for Coral, which is a old project that has been around for a while now, and just recently started hitting some serious strides. They had a whole leadership rework, and once they were all done, we had pretty much 2 months to make something really special. So we made a little vertical slice, sort of creating an idea of what this environment would look like, what the combat would look like, what the story would look like. And in those 2 months, they made something that was super solid with a test cutscene and voice acting and all these really cool elements that came together to create something really solid. And then Sunday happens and Halo is coming to Unreal officially. So now it's not just here's the rarity and the novelty of Halo being on an Unreal Engine. Now it's you have to go up against actual official Halo. But also now this is good resume stuff that you can actually figure out how to make Halo feel like Halo on Unreal, which they actually did a pretty good job as a small team. Because they had to find ways of like, what are the small intricacies of Halo that make it feel that way? How do the guns feel? How does the vehicles feel? How do the enemies move? How do they think? How do your allies move and think? And with this being a demo that has things like ally Spartans and ally Marines and a Warthog that you can drive freely, this demo was packed with so many different things that makes it so impressive that I really hope that at some point Halo Studios sees that sort of stuff and they're just like, you small team, get over here. Because they've already done this. They already know how to use these systems. They've already developed them themselves in Unreal. So it would be utterly incredible if they did go that far, just because 343 but in the past did a good job of when they were first brought about. They brought in just a bunch of fans to make the team, basically.
Yep.
And now Halo Studios is here, and we haven't seen that open invitation yet, but I'm hoping that at some point I just start losing touch with certain folks that I know in the community, because I'll know where they are if I lose touch with them.
Right. I'm just hoping there's no cease and desist for some of these projects, because being on Unreal and being a Halo title is like, okay, starting to get into that questionable territory. I mean,
yeah, that's when
343 has been typically, now Halo Studios, I guess, has been typically very supportive of community projects and not trying to step on toes as long as they're within the guidelines of the Xbox game content usage, whatever that policy is. So
that policy is super loose. It's really helpful, actually.
Yeah. As long as you're not selling something, then you're as long as you're not using direct trademark stuff, that you're usually fine.
Yeah, there's pretty much two things you can't do. You can't sell it, and you can't have the project start with the word Halo. That's it.
Right.
You can use their sounds, you can use their music, not Halo 4. You can use anything that you want from the games. But like if it's a fan game, for example, you can't use in-game assets. That's another thing. That's like another caveat. But that's not a huge problem when you've got people like Choke Point Games making their own fully modeled Pelican for Far Isle. And it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. They went into Halo Infinite's trailers and made their own little like photo scans of the Pelican from that trailer, remade it from the ground up in their own engine. It's like these guys can do so much. I want them to be behind this franchise because I already know for a fact that they are passionate enough to make themselves suffer for it.
And there's a lot of community projects out there. And I think Coral was one of the last ones we actually had on the show before. The last time we actually talked about fan projects and mods was over 3 years ago. So
there's lots of updates out there.
Oh my gosh. I started looking through project contingency updates and there's like 9 or 10 updates since we last talked about. And I went back to check my notes and it's like August 21st of 2021. Yeah, I guess we lost touch on some of those. So that's a focus that I plan on really diving back into after the holidays when there's kind of that. Because there's going to be a lot of stuff going on with holiday content. We've got the Halloween event going on right now, that operation, which I really love the trailer that they put out for the Halloween event.
It's so freaking good.
They finally put that touch of machinima back in there, and it's like, it feels alive. Mm-hmm. This is like the perfect trailer that they could have done. I hope that they continue this direction with the operation videos for Infinite because oh my gosh, that was like, oh, this isn't just a showcase of the freaking operation stuff. This is actually like, you know, there was thought put into making this very thematic to the Halloween theme, and there's the pestilence armor ability, and they have the slash through the theater screen and the Halo 3 rat that's crawling up the screen. Like they put so much work and effort into making this an actual like machinima like production. It's like, oh, this is tasty. Haven't had something like this for Infinite in a long time. So
it's gonna be really exciting. There's some things that like I don't know if you've kept up with Choke Point Games as a whole recently.
I mean, like I said, the last time we talked about any fan games or mods has been 3 years ago.
Well, dude, Choke Point, Sins of the Prophets 2 in development.
So maybe I need to sync with you on actually finding. So I think I told you this. One of the things that GT and I do if we don't have a lot of news to talk about is we go and play. We've been playing mostly MCC mods. Cursed Halo is pretty much what we've been playing, but
it's a fantastic mod. It's so good.
We played CE Cursed Halo. I love the D20 grenades. GT hated me for the D20 grenades.
Somebody has a D20 problem.
Dude, okay. Here's what. Okay, you turn on bandana. Game over. Your game crashes. It's so freaking funny, but it is so destructive.
We had it on. We had bandana on. We had Grunt Funeral on. We had.
I think we only crashed like once or twice.
How did your game not crash more than that?
No, actually, for the most part, it was pretty stable throughout the whole playthrough.
I don't believe what I'm
hearing. Are you guys playing on PC or Xbox?
I've got 13K.
Wait, a PC. Duh.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm even asking that question.
But we did that one. Did we do 3 or Reach Cursed next?
3.
3. Okay. And we still have Reach.
Cursed Halo 3.
We still have Reach to do.
4 to do. Yeah.
I love those mods so much. The involvements there are so much fun. Cursed Halo, again, the guy who plays Johnson in that, he's actually connected with us, and he's actually an actor in Stories from Waypoint as one of the characters in 2 to 4 episodes. 4 because 2 of them aren't out yet. But dude, the amount of talent that goes into all those things, it's like going from not just the person developing it, but the people who are like, how are you even going to go and find somebody who sounds just like David Scully? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah. So yeah, I want to get in and actually do some playtests with these fan games and mods. I just need to find the time. There's so many of them. Like I could play one every week for a year and still not play through all the fan games and mods that are out there.
Dude, totally, absolutely, and that's what's so much fun. But also, again, why we're worried about the weighing in on where does this lie with the new team? What did they think about that?
I think most of that lies with Microsoft because they're the ones that actually hold the rights. As long as they stay within the Xbox guidelines, I don't think any of the fan projects are going to have a problem.
I hope not. I just don't want it to change, because now that they're branching out and making supposedly multiple projects, who knows what all that can mean. If they make their own space RTS, then where does that leave Sins of the Prophets, for example?
Well, saying Sins of the Prophets is a mod for an existing game, I don't think it's going to be a problem.
Here's hoping.
Because, well, the Halo Studios, if they went into that genre of game, they would have to steer away from anything that might be a copyright infringement on Sins of the Prophets.
Mm.
But it wouldn't be a copyright infringement.
Or not on the base game. What was the base game? I forgot.
Sins of a Solar Empire.
Sins of a Solar Empire. So they would have to be careful not to cross any of their copyright on the base game. Yeah, granted, Sins of the Prophets, they generate all their own artwork, all their own assets. So,
and their assets have ended up in the encyclopedia, which is the wildest thing. Yeah.
So I don't foresee, even if they go into that genre game, that they will have a problem. Because for one, they've been supporting the project by allowing them to put stuff in official documentation, aka the books. So, I mean, technically, they own anything they create. They own the rights to that creation because they created it and they didn't copy it. So it is their intellectual property. The only thing I think they could claim, well, I mean, all these games, as long as they're just kind of based in the Halo universe, and of course they don't use Halo in any of the marketing or anything like that, I think they'll be plenty safe.
I will say, just poking fun real quick, we're friends, just to be clear. Halo Evolved has some nads on them because they do have a project called Halo Survival, and it's an audio drama based on Halo Infinite's story. I've been like sitting there waiting every day just to hear from one of them being like, we got our audio drama taken down. It's like, because I've only seen one other time.
You are definitely pushing the limit there.
Yeah, I've only seen one other time that someone did that, and they went way over the line. Have you guys heard of? Connor's heard me rant about this so many times. Halo Defiance. No.
Yeah, I can't say it rings any bells for me.
How much time do you have left on this show?
Let's save that for another discussion. We're already past the 2 hour mark, and we're normally used to having podcasts go for an hour and a half tops. So let's save that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to wrap it up here pretty quickly because wake up time is getting here really quick.
Yeah. So the Halloween event's out. That's the other big piece of news with it. An update to Survive the Undead by the Forge Falcons, which I hope to get them on at some point. That would be so cool. They had a panel at Outpost, but I would love to get them on the podcast. Got several other guests lined up. Talk to the Women of Halo folks. Talk to Listenity, possibly trying to get them on. Try to get Tony on as well, one of the other casters. Or why not? Which is actually Tony backwards. And a few others that I reached out to of possibly having on the show. But I'm sure we missed several things that we could have talked about during HCS Worlds. Season 4 has been confirmed. There will be a Worlds next year, so I will be there in full force. We are planning a Podtacular 20 year. I'm just going to say that out. I kind of hinted at it already, but that is something that we're trying to plan to go on during year 4 of Halo. Roster Mania is already happening. Check out HCS Pro Talk. They do a lot of great coverage over there on all the competitive stuff that goes on in the Halo scene. I think they are the podcast to check out when it comes to competitive Halo. So shout out to them. Got to meet up with them and get their stickers. They had a whole bunch of stickers to hand out as well. Yeah, it was a great weekend. Great to see everybody. Great to see Austin and Connor. Get to see you all again. And thank you all for being on the show again, twice within the week.
Yeah, it's been so much fun. I like being here. It's a comfy place to be.
It really is.
This is like this show is like the Halo comfort food of community projects, because it is the absolute. It will be here sort of thing.
You get your little morsels.
Exactly. You're just like, so long as Podtacular is here, everything is okay.
Almost 20 years, man.
It's gonna be so exciting. You'll bet that we'll be there. I'm so excited. First of all, that they announced it on like day one of this year's event. That was not a thing that happened last year.
Well, and people were not expecting it to be announced. Like people were thinking it'd be announced the third day if it was going to be happening or not. And when I talked to Sketch on Friday, I mean, I guess he knew. Like he and I were talking about it as if next year and the year after were already in the books, which. Ooh. I don't think that's spoiling anything. I think that's just like that's what they're planning on, is just whether or not they can actually make it happen, I guess.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Ooh.
Well, that'll wrap it up for us tonight, since we're past the 2-hour mark on the recording. One of the longer episodes that we've had in a while. This is going to be... Thankfully, I have off on Monday, so I have a good enough weekend to actually edit this show and get it posted out. Gotta start reaching out to all my other people that I talked with over the weekend, try to get some more podcasts lined up. We'll be talking about the new Halo stuff for a good while. I'm sure plenty of topics that we can dive into of what a feature complete game looks like, what we would like to see with Unreal. Like I mentioned before, get some of the fan projects and mods that have tapped into Unreal and making Halo on Unreal a thing. There's several other social media things that have been out there lately too, so we'll try to catch up on some of those next week during the podcast. But I want to give a huge shout out to JumperScape for making me feel welcome and incorporated back into kind of the Halo community, being able to be part of some of their productions. Go check them out on Twitter. You'll see my face in a couple of different videos that they have out there, and being on our open mic podcast on Sunday that got guest bombed by.
Yeah, it was fun time, great time.
Yeah, that was really fun. We had a great time over that weekend. We like to have fun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Thank you all for listening on Twitch. Thanks for the great group of people that we had over here from JumperScape. Appreciate all the new follows and pins for your subscription bomb again. Hayden for the raid. And for everyone listening on our podcast download, thank you all so much for the continued support. Here for another year, for another HCS season coming up next year. I'm sure we won't hear anything until probably February as far as tournament events and whatnot, but the fact that we have another Worlds and that I will likely be there again next year is very exciting. Wherever you are, thank you for listening. We'll catch you all next week.
Night.
Thank you for listening to Podtacular, the unofficial Halo Universe podcast. You can find our podcast on your favorite podcasting service and listen to us live every Thursday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Twitch. Check out our website, podtacular.com, and join the community on Discord at podtacular.com/discord. If you want to play Halo with us, come join us for Fraggin' Fridays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Become a supporter of the show by sharing the show with your friends and family, or help keep the lights on by subscribing to us on Twitch, donating via PayPal, or becoming a patron alongside Confal, Pins Halo, and Prestige Ace. Until next time, keep on fragging trucks.